Hello, 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 everybody. Forgot to mute my TV, so we were getting an echo there at the beginning. Um, how is everybody doing? I hope everybody had a happy and safe 4th of July. Ours was fairly uneventful. My daughter and her crew came and spent the night. We had some, the weather was not, nobody around me should have been lighting off fireworks. The wind was horrible. We were already having thunder and lightning going on with no rain. People shouldn't have been lighting off any kind of fireworks, especially aerials, but it did. And Pulse Point and Watch Duty lit up like the fireworks did as fire, 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 fire. Yeah, our fire crews were busy all night, all over the place. We just had little poppets because this was little man's very first 4th of July. So him to be able to experience something. So they just did little poppets. We, did them on our porch, which he thought was pretty cool. We made cooked on the grill, burgers, chips, hot dogs, and just kind of enjoyed each other's company for the evening. And that was it. Pretty uneventful. Luckily, nothing around us caught fire. Yay! It's not typical for around here. But, all right. So this is a reminder. This is what last week's card was, and the prompt was. What was the prompt last week? Thread. The week before. I don't remember what last week's prompt was. This week is WRAP, WRAP, and next week is numbers. So I'm going to go ahead and do this while I'm thinking about it. This video marks the halfway point, 26, week 26. We are halfway through the year. I did count my cards because it seemed like I didn't have enough left over, and I am indeed too short. I'm not sure how that happened because this was an unopened deck of cards. So I'm not sure how I'm too short, but I'm too short. So I will, when it comes toward the end of the year, I will dig into one of my other decks and replace the other two cards. I'll probably go through just because I'm about it. I'll probably go through and figure out which two I'm missing and replace those specific ones so that my deck is complete. Brain, sorry. So what I'm going to do, I really struggled. Let me tell you, I struggled with wrap. The only thing that came to mind literally was to wrap the card with something, whether it was wrapping it with fabric, wrapping it with lace, wrapping it with paper. And I was like, eh. Didn't want to do that. And then I'm like, ooh, I can make little paper beads. So that's what I'm going to do. I've got the carryover item from last week is this darkish blue paper. I've added in some blue tissue paper and blue stamps, and I'm rolling them into little paper beads. And that's going to be my wrap for the week. I have my box of beads out here. You can't see my price tag, but it's right off here, just off camera, just below this box. This corner right here has my price tag on it. I bought this at the secondhand store, so I only paid $7 for it, and it was actually 3 boxes like this all taped together for that $7. I've used most of the beads. in other projects. I don't know. I struggle. I struggle with using these. I mean, I've had these for probably 8, 9 years, maybe. And I mean, it's still full. I really, really struggle using these. I'm not a dangle. I don't typically make dangles from my junk journals, um, and stuff like that. Just because when I look at the ones that I make visually, I don't like them. Um, so I tend to not do that. Sorry, getting up because. Oops. I don't know what I just dropped on the floor. Get my see this box has been emptied out and I'm now using it as storage. So this is some of the other types of dangles that I've made. It's just literally taking book page and wrapping it around a paper clip. So then you can hook stuff on this end and hook stuff on this end. I've got these word prompts that have been coated with embossing glaze, heat pressed. There's the eyelet put in it. I was kind of hoping I had some in here that weren't purple, but they've all been done. See, these ones haven't been punched. They are clear coated with the embossing powder. You may be able to tell that they're shiny, and they're backed on book page, and they just don't have the eyelet in them like these do. But yeah, I kind of pulled this box out hoping that I could find that they weren't all already inked purple, but they are. And this was because I did a witchy journal for somebody. Made them a grimoire, and so these are all magical terms: elixir, grimoire, illusion, divination, archangel, magi, you know. So they're all purple. They're not going to match. Let's keep one of those out at least. We can use one of those. Okay. Need to make some more of those word thingies, I guess. I don't know. Maybe not. Again, I need to decide whether or not I'm going to get practicing on making dangles or not. Because if not, then there's no point. Not that there's no point. There's less of a point. I have my needle out. I had to find one that the eye would go through with no problem. So I have that. This is what I'm using to wrap my paper around. It's a wire stem from Artificial Flowers. Keep realizing that I am off screen. Couldn't figure out why, and I'm like, oh, it's because my last filming, I was doing my diamond painting, so my camera was way over here. I'm like, why am I off? So let's go ahead and do these up as beads real quick so that they have time to dry. It's pretty simple process if you've never seen it done. You're gonna want something skinny, a skewer, a pencil if you want it to have a bigger opening. You can use, but anything round. Now for me, I put glue on the end. You don't want to glue it to the thing you're wrapping around because you want to be able to pull it out. So I take it and then I glue the paper to itself. I'll usually put some glue about halfway and then glue on the very end. And then you just roll. So glue in the middle kind of secures it to that halfway point. And then glue at the end, obviously, glues the bead. Now if you do your paper different shapes, your bead is going to be a different shape. So, like if you do it a rectangle, it's going to be even like this, you know. You could do it like a diamond, and then when you roll it, your bead will actually come out shaped like that. Like an ellipse. Is that what they're called? So again, I'm just putting some there to get it started. Gluing the paper down to itself. Glue about midpoint and glue at the end. You don't have to do that midpoint glue if you don't want to. It is just my personal preference. I feel like it's more secure for me, especially in this stage when I'm trying to get it off the wire. That, you know, for some reason it gets stuck on there, at least it's glued in the middle to hopefully hold itself together. I'm going to do one more of these. I don't know that I'm going to need all that I'm making. Because again, I'm working with a small surface, which I tend to forget when I'm doing this project. It's like, oh, yeah, I'm not doing like a full page. And then I end up with more supplies than I actually need. So I had that glue on my hand from cleaning the blurble off here. So I just smeared it down the rest of that. Roll. Roll, roll, roll. Roll, roll, roll. Rolling in the hay. Anybody know where that's from? What movie that's from? Roll, roll, roll. So this stamp has a little bit of red on it, so I may need to try to figure out where to, you know, to add some red somewhere, just to kind of blend that in. This is not wanting to roll. Glue doesn't want to stick. There it goes. That's a really, really old stamp too. Hold that for a minute. Hopefully that glue grabs, because it took a little bit to even get that one rolling. So yeah, it doesn't look like the glue on the end is going to want to hold right now, because it had a chance to lose its tackiness. So we'll just put a little bit more there on the end. My dog has decided he doesn't want to come in tonight. At least not yet. It's currently 11:15, and he's out in the front yard. He's like, nope, I don't want to come in yet. I'm like, well, that's fine. You don't have to come in, but don't sit out there and bark and bug all the neighbors. Which is the downside to that, because he does. He goes out there and he just randomly barks at stuff. And while, you know, I live in a neighborhood full of dogs. I mean, my next door neighbor breeds them. She's got a whole kennel full. So it's not like a barking dog is something that my neighbors are going to like throw a conniption about. And I know when I was gone, when I was up in Walla Walla for a few days, he refused to come in. My husband's like, well, I had to go to bed. And so he actually stayed out all night, which was kind of a first for him since we've had him. But, I'm like, he'll deal with it. So I'm feeling kind of slightly unprepared because I didn't bring out, I don't have any book page out. So these pages are from National Geographic. I do have a video on this. If I remember, I'll try to link it in the description box, but it's using Citrazolve degreaser, I think is what it is. But you get old school Nat Geos, and you literally just close, next page, next page. Some of the pages don't completely dissolve the ink like these ones versus this. I learned that. I learned how to tell the difference of what papers were going to completely dissolve and which ones weren't. You have to be careful with ones like this that don't completely dissolve because you have to watch for copyright. So you got to make sure that it at least dissolves enough that the image is not identifiable so that there's no copyright issues. I'm grabbing book page. Ooh, you know what'll be fun? Let's get this book. We get this book out because it has like these pages when I was done painting and I still had paint on the palette. I just, so that I'm not wasting the paint. I'm looking for stuff that I could collage in with this. Get those. Kind of like those colors. Do I want any brown? No. And they're scattered throughout because it's based upon when I was done painting. Okay. Got more brown. Is there any in there? Nope. See, I've done a lot in this book. So I've got orange. No. Let's do a little bit of green. Might get one page. Let's do some green and some black. And these will go into my scraps. And some blue. These will go into my scraps because I'm not going to need all of it because, again, I'm only covering a tiny little card. Okay. So let's start this out. Let's do some... Yeah, this is a fun project, but boy, is it smelly. It's messy. And, I'm supposed to do it in a well-ventilated area. I did it right here in my craft room. So right now I'm just kind of working on putting the background. You know, and I think instead of doing it this way, I'm just going to glue it as I go, because otherwise I'm going to like spend all this time lining it all up, and then I'm going to have to take it all off anyway. So let's just glue as we go. That there. And while I'm doing this, I'm also thinking about what I would like my focal point to be. So again, this is the mini collage part of this challenge. So while I'm doing this, I'm going to turn some Gail on. We got Mixed Media Monday. She's doing a garden collage, mushroom themed. I do, Gail. Do you ever have a project you have to do and you just have to do it right now? Yep. Doesn't happen to me often where I'm like, oh, I gotta go. But it does happen every now and again. So.
These are digitals, but they're very similar to the flowers that you find in the Amazon books. And gorgeousness. So
Timeless Blooms.
The name of the Etsy shop is Lunora, Lunora Art. And this one's Timeless Blooms. Garden. So I'm super excited to start buzz cutting. And then I also got a Holiday Pixies kit, and it's huge. Look at this.
I've known about that Etsy shop. I actually have those
So anyway,
digitals.
I just thought I'd share that along too, and thank you, Pamela, for sharing that with me.
Let's get some black in there.
Okay, very loose idea. So good, so good. Remember the gardens?
Okay, let's get some of this one on there.
Yes, Mary Lou. That is such a great idea. So we are going to do that. So we're going to do the background first here. And what I'm going to use is all this crazy paper that I made after a video from Christy that just inspired me.
Put those over there. These are going to go into my box for this project. Potential future use. This is going to be garbage. Trim that. Okay, so what she does, what she's talking about with the collage board, oh, there's more of those, or the collage garden, is there's the signature page right? And she uses different images. In this case, is going to be mushrooms to different lengths to make an image across the bottom that's of mushrooms and other plant type life. I'm digging, pulling out my gesso because I want to like tamp some, some of it down. I'm gonna kind of blend some of my edges.
Now, if it's wrinkled, I don't care about that because, because I would just give it a little more.
He's out there barking.
It'll give it a little more texture. Is what I'm trying to say to y'all. So my son was here this weekend. He is his best friend from life.
Okay, probably gonna have to go let him in because it's more than just a woof and then quiet. He's like, actively barking. Talk amongst yourselves. I'll be right back.
It's always fun to have. If I can find the video where I did this,
My husband was still awake, so
try and make it better.
okay. So just pulling in some embroidery floss. I could use thread, but all of my thread is over on the wall. Put away. Go figure. A big old knot going here. We're just gonna snip.
Yeah, so yesterday, I told you guys when my son comes and spends the night when he has to work here in town or something. I was in the evening watching scary movies, so it's really sweet here. His buddy was visiting the other day. We ended up going to
Get my needle threader out. Through the hole. I'm folding this over in half and I'm threading the two loose ends through the needle. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie just a little knot up here at the end. Just so it's got a little loop. Let's get in here. Want to do silver? Do I want to do gold? Do I want to do clear? Let's see. Will my needle fit through the gold? No. Will it fit through the silver ones? Oh, good movie, Gail. 28 years later is what her and her family just watched. So the silver fits. See, just put a silver bead on there. And then take one of these. Grab another silver one. I probably don't have enough silver to do all of the dangles. And then we're going to put a stamp. Kind of like that the dates are 1248 to 1948. Okay, cool.
That's a little bit of Chinese paper. Chinese writing.
There's the hole. There it is. So you gotta keep in mind how
So,
low this is gonna
so
hang.
I'm filming this on Sunday.
So I'm gonna thread this back up through that bottom bead,
Youngest son, traveling up here.
and then what I'm gonna do is tie it. Just gonna make like a little slippy knot type thing,
So, depends on
and we're gonna go right here.
here.
Just give that a little,
Not today.
just give it a little pull.
Playing as
Oop.
we speak.
Ooh, I gave it too big of a pull.
So, yeah. How about you? Lots of goings on around.
So my bottom bead, I pulled too much and I pulled it up inside my stamp.
Yeah, so anyway, our son and his whole family this time are gonna be
Jeez, come on.
a couple of days.
So I'm just adding some glue there. Put that in there upside down. Maybe that'll. Let's see if I have something fancy that I can put on the bottom there. Just to kind of, sort of cover up my boo-boo. Just dip it in there. So we're going to let this dry, and then we'll knock off whatever doesn't stick. So we're going to set that one aside. Put those back in there. Those beads are too small for me to do anything with. I can't get a needle. I don't have a needle small enough to get through them. So, okay, so again, I'm going to tie it all knot in the end so that there's a little loop. Thread the other end. Oh, I did even tie that in the center. So this is going to be a shorter dangle because I shorted myself on my thread. So again, thread the needle. Ouch.
Still have a whole big stack of these dyed papers, so this is fun to be able to have a project to use on. Is this
I lost control of it when I stabbed myself with the needle. So, let me see if the clear ones will
okay?
go through. Nope. Blue ones? Blue ones work. Let's put this little stampy on there.
Yes. Yes. Non-sticky place is hard to do this way.
So again, go back up through that last bead, through the last paper bead. Not pull so hard this time. I'm actually going to pull that needle off and I'm going to tie this as a double overhand, just so that I don't accidentally do that again. So I'm doing is tying it between the stamp and the bead with a double overhand right there. I'm going to cut the little tails off, or I can leave them. Do I want to leave the? I'm going to leave the tails dangling. Yeah, we're going to leave the tails on that one. Let me get out. Get out a bulb pen going here. Okay. So we've got this one. This one. I'm thinking let's put this in the middle of that one. And this one. Dangle off the bottom of that. Okay. So now we have this little aspect of it. So I've got one end of it clipped into the bulb pin up there. On the other loop, I'm going to tie a knot. Get my strings even first. Sort of. Or glue it to my hand and then drop it in my lap. You know. Try that again. Doing this with just a double overhand. To the bottom of that. What is that knot? We're going to take this. Thread the needle. Okay. The eye of my needle just broke. These are cheap needles. I bought them because I wanted the container. The needles were just a side bonus. Okay, so we're going to go one at a time. Doesn't seem to want to go through now. So, let's go one. Now let's see what I can fit. I'm double thinking those strings. I may go ahead and cut those off. Okay, That works. We're going to put one of these on. Two of these. Will it be longer? Yes, it will. That's my goal, is for it to be longer than the rest. Or smaller, one way or the other. I just don't want them to be the same size. Really? Okay. It's not wanting to fit back through that bead a second time, so let's back it out. We'll just go back up through the paper then. And do the same thing. I'm going to split. And over here, knot it. Back over to this side. Yeah, I'm going to take these off. Not liking them. Trim those off. Put my needle away because I'm not going to do any more dangles. You know, I did 3 stamps. I don't know where the other one went. Put this away. I'm not going to need it no more. Alright, so now I have this, which I'm going to dangle off of my card somewhere. Do I want it to dangle off the card itself? Do I want to put it through the eyelet that I'm going to be doing, or off to the side? I think I want it off to the side. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use it like a safety pin. I'm going to punch through the back and punch another hole just to make it easier for me to do, in theory anyway. So I'm going to go in that hole and back in through this one. So that'll be hanging off the side like so. I'm still thinking about I don't know what I want to put for my focal point. And again, wishing I had blue eyelets, but I don't. So we're going to use white again. Okay. Focal point, focal point. Let's see. I'm going to take a flip through these real quick. Lots of flowers. I've used birds. Go away, string. Pairs, ladies, tags. It was off into the garbage. Focal point. What do I want to put for a focal point, guys? Now I'd have to cut her legs off, and I don't want to do that. She's too tall. She's kind of cute on there. And it's funny because it's the bead that's got the red on it that I'm missing. That I was like, oh, I need to incorporate some red. That's the one that's missing. Can't imagine where it wandered off to. I have strings driving me crazy. Strings. It's funny. So I'm gonna stick these in here with my paper bead or with my plastic beads. I'll stick my paper beads in there. But it's okay. Let's see. Do I have my
Okay, so let's do
So these are painty papers that I did a long time ago. This is you stamp on it, stick it in a bin, and splatter.
And I'll put some, a challenging glue. As I said, challenging glue.
I like that one because it's got some blue on it. And then what I'm going to do is, pardon me,
Warmed up. It's gonna
get my stamps. Let's see.
watched Maddie watched a Disney that movie Elemental. I haven't seen it yet. Disney Pixar is gonna be
Okay, let's do this one.
okay. So now
I haven't even used these ones yet. We want to just go. They're said they are the same size. This one's just got hearts on it, which I think is kind of cute. So we're going to use this one.
use the groupings.
Okay. Don't know where my block is.
That. Okay, so
A quick label.
but it would be where I cut.
I'm gonna need this bag. This is my glue page currently. Although it is irritating the daylights out of me. So she's gonna go there. Oh, I never did finish explaining how they do this. So you just take your paper strips, ideally, and you stick them all, you stamp them however you want, if you want background stamping done. And then you stick it all into a bucket of some sort of container, and then you just splatter the daylights out of it with, inks and paint and whatever else you want in there. And it gives you, just a different kind of decorative, decorative something. Okay. Trim this off. Now she is going to cover most of that. Wondering. What 4 letters would look like. 1, 2, 3, and 4. They're not spelling anything right now. Yeah, let's go C U T U T Oh, so like this is what she does. See, these are all individual mushroom images that she glued on the bottom of a page. To make like a garden, and then she cuts them down into tag, pocket, or journaling card size. So, as you can tell, I have not put these away from the last time I used them. They were actually literally just sitting on the floor next to me, waiting patiently for me to be responsible in my craft room. As if that's a thing. Okay, so I spelled cutie. So we're just gonna get this nice and inked up. Try to get them to stay together. And we're gonna stamp this on here. Cutie. Some of that you're not gonna see because she's gonna be glued over the top of it. Yes, Gail, scissors. I was just thinking the same thing. I need my scissors. Okay. Here's going to be our little card for today. Week 26. So we are halfway through 2025. Yay! So thanks again for joining in. I hope you enjoyed this little project. Check out the hashtag full deck challenge. There is a full deck challenge 2025 hashtag out there also, as well as full deck challenge 3, the number 3. All of those will take you to different creators. I just use the hashtag full deck challenge because that is what Shanuki Art put on her initial video for this little challenge here. So plug that hashtag in. Go check out some other creators. If you leave some comments, tell them I sent you. Let them know that you watched it. And yeah, we'll talk to you in the next video. Bye. Peace out.